everyone, thanks very much for joining part 2 of our Make Your Day, Break Your Day series, where we talk a little bit in part 1 about the problem with breakfast cereals on the market and what needs to be done to clean them up and really to help promote health for not just the start of the day, but through the whole day. Whether you're an everyday worker at home or at the office or an athlete, let's talk a little bit now in part 2 of the exciting news that we've been talking a little about launching our latest all-new product from SFuels, the product that we refer to as Keto 3. And hopefully you can see this on screen and you're probably asking straight away, well, what is Keto 3? What does the 3 mean? I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to talk you through that, why we came up with this brand. We're super excited to tell you a little bit more about how we formulated the product and how it took quite a while to really develop such a breakthrough, reimagined product for cereal. Well, with that, let's talk a little bit about what we just referred to in part 1 of these 3 pillars that really needed to be addressed in really creating a new breakfast cereal and a new way to start your day with optimal nutrition. The first thing was you need to do breakfast. And the concept of skipping breakfast, they're finding in studies, is not a good idea. The blood sugars are found to be higher after lunch and after dinner if you're skipping breakfast, and that's not a good thing. The second thing we talked about was most of the cereals on the market today had this problem with very high levels of carbohydrates and sugars, very low fiber, almost no fat, and certainly very little protein. We need to reverse that by really reducing the amount of carbohydrate and sugar and increasing the protein and the fat and also the fiber. And that will help us feel sustained through the day. And then finally, really avoiding at all costs the processing of these ingredients that take away not just the nutrition of the ingredients, but also they can be found to have actually detrimental effects to our behavior and mood as we think about taking further foods through the day. The processing of foods at the start of the day can really change how we think about what foods we reach for in a lunch or a dinner. So what do we do in Keto 3? Well, there's 2 things we want to cover to kind of talk you through this. The first is, what do we do to shift the mix, the macro nutrition of a breakfast cereal, to really reimagine it and to make it not just, again, the food and the meal for the morning, but also to help you power through the day and give you a sustained energy through the day. And as we said, we want to do that while avoiding highly processed ingredients and processing in creating the finished good. And let's talk a little bit about what we did and how we did that with Keto 3. And I want to start with 4 classic foods that typically get used in the breakfast time and compare some of the macronutrient elements of those foods and Keto 3. And to show you how we're starting to reorient and shift the mix of those macro ingredients of protein, of fiber, of the energy that's in the cereal, and then lastly, making sure that our sugars is low. Well, on protein, a classic food, of course, that we refer to many times as it relates to protein is the egg. It's just slightly less than 7 grams. And in Keto 3, we deliver a full 7 grams of protein in 1 serve. On the fiber, the apple is commonly referred to as a high fiber fruit, and it is, and there's nothing wrong with having an apple every now and then. But just to give you context, 4.7 grams of fiber in one of those nice green apples, 7 grams of fiber in the Keto 3 product. And we'll talk more about this soon, but we do all of that without using grains in the product. Well, in terms of packing a punch to see you be satisfied and also energetic through the day, you'll see on a classic breakfast cereal like an oats, a single serve of oats will deliver 140 calories of energy. In Keto 3, we're delivering 230 calories. How do we do that? I'll show you all the ingredients in a second and how we work to formulate a cereal that's really going to help you have that energy through the morning, not just for that spike and then crash that is very typical of high sugar cereals. And talking about sugar, we do all of this with the high protein, the high fiber, and also that high energy, but we do it with very little sugar. In fact, we don't add any sugar to the Keto 3 ingredients. It's naturally found in a few of the ingredients, but very small amounts. 2 grams is only found in a single serve. As a comparison, 3 grapes would have about 2.3 grams of sugar. So that's how we start mixing it up. And let's look at the ingredients that make all this possible. I'll walk through them here. Whey protein isolate, almonds, MCT coconut oil, collagen, shredded coconut, psyllium fiber, glutamine, cacao nibs, cinnamon, some salt, some vanilla natural flavoring, some nutmeg, and some monk fruit. The protein is predominantly coming from that whey protein isolate. So this is the form that really doesn't have all the lactose that you'll find. A lot of people have a reaction to lactose. We take that out. We have almonds, which have significant amount of protein, and then lastly, the collagen. Those three foods and ingredients come together to give a really balanced, high quality form of protein in Keto 3. The energy and the calories that actually fuel your day come from the coconut oil, the shredded coconut, and the almonds. It doesn't come from a whole bunch of sugar in the cereal. There is almost none. There's 2 grams of sugar in Keto 3. The fiber is mostly coming from the psyllium fiber, and it's a fiber a little bit like when you cook up an oats in the morning, it slightly gels and swells. That's what happens to a psyllium fiber. And it's really that fiber with the fat and the protein that's going to help you feel satisfied in the stomach, like you've really had a solid breakfast. And it's what is going to help you feel satisfied through to your next meal. And the taste comes from really the mix of a number of these ingredients and the taste and the texture they bring together. You've got the crunchiness and the texture of the shredded coconut, and mixed up with the cacao nibs and the cinnamon, and also the vanilla, and they're sweetened with some monk fruit, not with sugar or cane sugar. And that's what comes together to create really a delicious cereal, but intact of its nutrition. We do all of that, you'll see that there's no reference to any grains used in Keto 3. There's no gluten in Keto 3, no added sugar, no sugar alcohols. You'll see in a lot of these cereals, the way they get around this is start adding a lot of these sugar alcohols, which cause those gut problems. And like I said, we don't add any sugar in the form of cane sugar or syrups. Now, in terms of processing, all we do is mix these ingredients. We're not baking it, we're not flaking it, we're not high heat puffing it up, we're not frying it. We don't roll it and make it instant. So this is really to ensure that the best of the nutrition is kept intact as best we possibly can. So with that, what does it all look like in numbers? Well, it's around 230 calories. So that's a solid punch of energy to keep you right through the morning. And it does that, like I said, with very little sugars. Here's the 2 grams of sugar we talked about. There's no added sugar. There's no sugar alcohols in here. It's this fat and this fiber and this protein that's really going to help you feel satisfied through the morning and to keep you going through the day. So over the next little while, you're going to start seeing Keto 3 coming out in all of these different formats. We call it Keto 3 because the variety and the way that you can use the product in these different formats is what's really exciting. You don't have to have multiple boxes of cereals to create a granola or a muesli or a hot cereal. You can straight out of the bag, pour it into some yogurt and fruit, and there you go with a muesli. Instant grab and go breakfast, quick and easy. If you want to convert the Keto 3, add some coconut oil and put it in the oven and bring it out, let it cool, and there's your granola. Or if you want to take it straight out of the bag, put it in with some milk and then warm that up. It will gel up like you do with an oats, and then you can have that as a warm cereal. That's the utility of Keto 3, that you can have it in these 3 different formats, and we can keep the nutrition high quality, even though you are allowed to actually mix this up in these 3 formats and use it in these different ways and keep the variety wide. Well, you're going to see a number of campaigns online and offline start to hit the waves, announcing this awesome new product from the SFuels portfolio. So thanks very much for joining our Monday Mindshare and our second part of this 2-part series, Make Your Day or Break Your Day. And also, thanks for joining the launch of our latest SFuels product, Keto 3. I hope you'll try it soon. It's up on sfuelsgolonger.com. Check it out. I'm sure you'll find it delicious.